Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is part 3 of Yin and Yang. Enjoy. You didn't know what you were expecting the principal to look like, but you certainly weren't expecting a chimera mouse-looking creature that could talk, and for a few seconds it was the only thing that consumed your mind as you just stared at him while he did his introduction. Now, I believe that you are friends with Ojiro, the principal, who introduced himself as Nezu, said with a happily open palm, extended hand towards Ojiro, who stood beside you quietly. Friends? You asked as you looked at him. He smiled at you, and you couldn't help your heart jumping a little, your tail curling pleasantly behind you and shrinking to a very manageable size. Friends? When was the last time I heard that word? You thought, blinking a few times to hide the shyness, then looking back to the principal. Now, Ojiro has told me about your quirk, and he is most certain that you will be well fitted for the hero course. Naturally, we would want to test your skills, but we do happen to have an opening in Class 1A, as one student was expelled for sexual harassment. At just the word sexual harassment, your tail bristled again. The principal cleared his throat and continued. We do have a practice course set up here on campus for you to do your entrance exam in, and it will be the same format as what the other students had to do in order to enter the course, so that it's fair for everyone, he said with a smile. You nodded solemnly. You'd only said one word up until this point. When would you like to sit your exam? It doesn't have to be today. You can go home and practice if you like. Now. I'm ready now, you said straight away. Your eagerness surprised and impressed both the principal and Ojiro. Oh, very well. I do like your attitude, the principal replied. I will call for the teachers on their free periods to attend your exams so that you can be marked accordingly. You nodded, your excitement starting to grow. Ojiro, if you would please take Yin to exam field A, the principal said to your friend, who happily nodded and took a step backwards towards the door. You did a small bow of thanks to the principal and then turned and followed Ojiro out. Wow, Yin, you're really game to do the exam today, Ojiro said as he walked beside you. I'm really impressed. You're so strong. Hearing praise from him was addictive, and you craved more. He was the only person who had complimented you up until this point in your life, and you were starting to enjoy positive affirmations. The only problem was, it made your tail feel strangely weak, and you didn't really like that. It was a foreign sensation. It felt like, if you were attacked right now, you wouldn't be able to do anything. Falling silent beside him, with your head down a little, you walked with him to the exam area, trying to work out why your quirk was acting up. Are you sure you want to do the exam today? Ojiro asked you suddenly, but in a soft voice as he neared the exam door. Yes, why? You asked, stopping beside him at the door. I can just feel that you're a little nervous, that's all. You're not holding yourself the same way that you usually do. You just looked at him, your gaze shifting from his left eye to his right eye, and then back again. You know how I hold myself? You asked with a dumbfounded, surprised expression on your face. So many things were running through your mind right now. He's noticed that much? He looks at me long enough to notice these things? He doesn't look away in horror when he sees me? Why do I like that he's looking at me? Why do I feel funny in my tummy when with that thought? Is he the reason my tail is playing up? Is he making me weak? Should I do the exam today? The longer you stood there looking at him, the more he looked worried. Maybe you should rest and do the exam another day, he said again. I'm worried about you. He shouldn't have said that last line because it just turned your quirk off completely and you felt very soft. There was no anger in your body. You felt no hostility, just peace. No, I want to, you said in a very placid voice. But can you please watch me? You don't even know yourself why you said that last line, but you needed him there. If you couldn't draw strength with your own quirk, then you needed to draw strength from somewhere that you could rely on, and so far he was it. He was the only other source. Yes, of course I will, he said brightly, smiling at you. The peace in your body turned to a soft ache in your heart, and you turned away from him. I can't deal with him anymore, but I still want him around, you thought as you nodded with your back to him. He had no idea what kind of internal struggle you were going through, but he decided that no matter what, he would be there for you. So he gently reached out and took your hand, and then gently pulled you with him as he reached out for the door handle with his other hand and pulled you inside. Inside the prep room, you were then debriefed by a very extremely loud blonde teacher with long pointed hair. He was speaking to you like he had a whole room of people present, but it was just you and Ojiro sitting at the back. At the end of the session, you were then pointed towards another door, and once you entered into that room, that's when the exam would start and time would begin. With one quick look back at Ojiro, you pushed the door open and walked through, your stomach churning as you walked out into the centre of a road with buildings all around. You looked around, taking it all in and waiting for the buzzer to sound. In a few more seconds there was a loud buzzer noise and your senses heightened, waiting for the foe to appear. In the distance you could hear mechanical noises coming in your direction, and you honed in on your body to feel your quirk. Was it ready to go? Had your strength come back? Your body felt too quiet and it unsettled you a little. Only a few more seconds and a large quadruped robot came ambling around the corner of the building, heading straight down the middle of the road towards you. You felt no hostility towards this thing. It intrigued you more than anything else, so you just stood there. Then it shot a laser at you and your tail quickly extended out from your ripped pant leg and snaked back behind you to push off the ground and throw you out of the way of the laser shot. You just managed to avoid it, but the second that you landed, your tail retracted heavily and lay still, leaving you feeling very weak and open to any further attacks by this robot. No, you thought with growing pensive anger. What's going on? You tried to think of a few angering things to flare your tail up, but you didn't have any negativity inside you anymore. The image of Ojiro's smiling face taking over every image you tried to drag up, and it placated your quirk. No, what's going on? You cried internally, as your barrel rolled out of the way of another shot from the robot. Picking yourself up after the roll, you ran for your life away from the robot, just trying to get some distance between you and it so that you could sort yourself out. From inside the viewing room, Ojiro, Present Mike, and Midnight were all watching on silently. She doesn't seem to have any special skills, Midnight commented. Present Mike hummed in agreement. Ojiro just looked worried. He knew something was wrong. You said you saw her pluck a branch from a tree and throw it halfway across a field? Midnight asked dubiously as she bent back a little to look around behind Present Mike to talk to Ojiro. Yes, Ojiro nodded solemnly. Yin isn't acting the way she usually does. Something is wrong. He added as he watched you barely dodge another strike from the robot. Midnight hummed, placing her manicured hand to her chin. Actually, Present Mike, Midnight, I think I know what can bring out her potential, but it means that I would have to go in and act as though I'm in trouble. Is that allowed? Present Mike looked at Midnight, and she looked back at him and gave him a small nod. Yeah, let's do it! Present Mike suddenly screamed, scaring Ojiro in the process. Let's get this record on! Get ready to go, Ojiro! You're up! Oh, yes, sir, Ojiro replied with a happy tail wag. And it doesn't end there. Next Wednesday, we will find out if Yin makes it into the hero course or whether her quirk fails her. Stay tuned and see you then.